Urban is defined as an urban area that has main activities other than agriculture with the arrangement of regional functions as a place of urban settlement, centralization and distribution of government services, social services, economic and industrial activities. Malaysia Plan has changed its policies and programs to emphasize cities' position as growth engines and, as a result, critical components of national economic and social development, infrastructure for education, health, justice, solid waste, marketplaces, street pavements, and cultural heritage protections are all parts of urban growth. Urbanization has the potential to reshape a nation's social and economic structure. Cities are the principal engines of economic growth and development, accounting for the majorities of global output and consumption. Urban areas account for over three-quarters of worldwide economic activities. The right to develop of low and middle income nations can only be achieved through sustainable urbanization that satisfies both rural and urban needs.
Among the factors behind the lack of housing in the city is that many rural residents move to the city because of good job opportunities. In Malaysia, more than two-thirds of Malaysians now live in urban areas. This inadequate housing occurs among the low-income group in the city. As happened in Kuala Lumpur, there was 30,000 heads of household have been categorized as B40. Although the B40 group is numerous in the city, the supply of affordable housing for them is still insufficient. Based on the chairman of the Federal Territory Consultative Council, Bandar Tun Razak, many B40s are still on the waiting list due to the limited numbers of houses. Based on the statistics from Dewan Bandaraya Kuala Lumpur, 38,145 applications to occupy public housing and People's Housing Project, which is PPR, until last January. Of all those applications, only 14,412 were offered the housing units as of March. All such applications take a long time to be approved as the number of vacant houses is very limited. Among the factors of purely built, affordable housing is the failure of the developer to complete the project within the stipulated period. In addition, lack of suitable land and problems in the provisions of allocations are also contributors to the lack of affordable housing, especially in the city area. This housing shortage needs to be addressed quickly because it is estimated that the city's population will increase by 82% by 2030.
As we know, Malaysia has introduced the Malaysia Plan as a development plan. Malaysia Plan is a 5-year plan that provides an overall overview of the government's development policies and strategies. The 12th Malaysia Plan, from 2021 to 2025, Malaysia aiming to become a high-income country by 2025 with an average monthly household income of at least 10,000 ringgit. But this will affect the middle and lower income group as they might not achieve the targeted monthly household income that has been set by the government, and it will affect the price of the goods. But nowadays, due to COVID-19 pandemic, many people has lost their job and become unemployed. The prices of the houses are becoming more and more expensive, and the lower income groups are finding it difficult to buy a house because their salary does not meet the requirement of the settlement. Besides, it is very difficult to find a cheaper house in our country as the average house price in Malaysia is at least 400,000 and above. The middle and lower income group could face poverty and slums as the cost of living become higher and more expensive with a basic salary of at least 1,200 ringgit per month. This group will be able to reach the target amount that has been set by the government, but it is impossible and difficult for them to reach it in 5 years.
As we know, public transportation is a transport that provided by the government to the public. So, the public can use it to go to a destination. The use of public transport is very good because it can reduce traffic congestion and pollution to the environment. I'm not denying that Malaysia has given a lot of efforts in providing a public transportation, but there are still some weaknesses of public transport that need to be addressed by the government. The first one is the light rail transit LRT management system. Sometimes the LRT has a problem with the punctuality of time. The time for LRT to arrive at each station is a bit more delayed than the timetable that has been set. The situation causes passengers to feel anxious, especially those who are short of time. Other than that, there is miscommunication between the employees who manage the LRT travel. This is very dangerous because it can lead to accident. For example, on 24 May 2021, there was an accident that happened between two trains in an underground tunnel. There are two LRT that collided in opposite direction on the same rail. As a result, more than 200 passengers were injured. According to the Minister of Transport, this accident can happen due to communication failure between the hostler of Train 40 and controller of Pusat Kawalan Operasi OCC. Okay, another weakness is security issue at the rail station. As we know, LRT, MRT and monorail is the most widely used type of public transportation by the public in the urban area. However, security issues at the rail station are worrying because of lack of patrols made by the auxiliary police at each rail station. This situation has given chance for those with malicious intent to carry out their criminal operations. Therefore, the safety of the public can be threatened at any time. For instance, there is one incident that happened at the Taman Mutiara MRT station in Cheras, wherein a young man has robbed and beat an old woman.
Year by year, population of country will be increased approximately around 83 million annually, which rose about 1.1% per year. That is why urban development plays important role in providing the current and the latest necessities for the resident. However, we can see that there are a lot of issues pertaining to the urban development of the country itself. In Malaysia, we can see that the government are proactive and acknowledge regarding the problems that occur. So, what did our government do? Our government has created Dasar Perumahan Mampu Milik Negara, which also known as National Affordable Housing Policy. Under this policy, there are about 3 programs which are being introduced. Rumah Mesra Rakyat Satu Malaysia, My Deposit Scheme, and Program Perumahan Rakyat. It is quite hard to believe about this statement, but there are a lot of people that live in Kuala Lumpur that's still hard to obtain a comfortable house, especially the group income of P40. Well, in Kuala Lumpur, there are a lot of people who do not have the privilege to own a house, which affects them to live in slums, in brickfields, Kampung Baru, and other Setinggan sites. It is quite sad scenario even though our government has stretched out various ways to provide equal facilities without discriminating any group of income. Thus, throughout the years, we can see that this program has its own objectives, primarily to assist low-income families in industries like fishing, farming, as well as for those who have limited money and terrible living conditions in obtaining inexpensive house. In 2018, the SPNB has to build about 8,000 units more of Rumah Mesra Rakyat Satu Malaysia to cater for the next generation Felda settlers, due to the population growth causing housing shortages and human settlements become complicated.
An individual that owns a property is required to pay the tax. Everyone knows that taxation is one of the major sources of the government revenue, which purposely to be spent such as on development, services and infrastructure projects for the betterment of the public and the country itself. So tax assessment will be determined by the value of the property, and it will be carried out by a local government, where they will assess the value of a property to compute the amount of tax that the taxpayer need to be paid. People who fail to pay the assessment taxes are likely to be subjected to penalties. The local government in Malaysia is giving discount to its people in urban areas to ease their burden on paying the assessment tax, especially during this pandemic, because the government has concerned that some people has faced a financial issue because of the COVID-19. Thus, assessment tax should not be one of their burden in managing the financial during this hard time. This actually happened because some companies are failed to operate normally, that might lead them to lay off their employees. Therefore, in Penang, the Penang Island City Council has given an assessment tax rebate to all the taxpayers who live there. The amount of discount given is based on the houses that they live, either they are from the low cost, high cost, and it's also applicable to those who are not from the both houses. Not just assessment tax rebate for the house owner, it's actually implement for the business owner that has been affected during the COVID-19. As everyone knows, there are businesses that has been affected until some of it has been forced to close down because of the Movement Control Order (MCO) that caused them to lose the customer. Based on the Companies Commission of Malaysia, or also known as SSM, there has been recorded that more than 4,500 businesses closed in only 4 months during this pandemic. Thus, Kuala Lumpur City Hall, TBKL, also given assessment tax rebates to the malls and hotel in order to give support those entrepreneurs to continue their businesses during this hard time. And it is actually one of the effort in the government program, which is Permakasa Plus program, in helping all the people that has been affected by this pandemic. Last but not least, Malaysia government has tried to help all its citizens living in the urban city so that they can live peacefully.
National Smart City Framework is an international framework that besides Malaysia country implement this kind of framework, other countries like Singapore, Jakarta, Seoul and Phuket also implement it. So one of reason why this MSCF framework is implemented because it helps to solve issue happen in urban like traffic congestion, environmental degradation, natural pollution, and stress-related disease. There are 7 pillars of National Smart City Framework, which is smart economy, smart living, smart environment, smart people, smart government, and smart mobility. And the last is smart digital infrastructure. First, what Malaysia has done to settle this issue is implement Internet for Everything, which is LOT. LOT is to use to make sure our public transport has systematic system, easy to access and existing to all people moving with comfort. Besides that, smart mobility and smart people can be seen when we are using vehicle sharing application such as Grab, Maxim, Uber, and making online payment, whether using debit card, PayWave, or e-wallet. Other than that, to be smart city, government must increase the protection system. For example, around 5,000 secret television (CCTV) with AI features has installed around Kuala Lumpur area, especially in public transport area.